The first failures were easy to dismiss. A satellite over the Pacific dropped offline for exactly 11 seconds. Engineers blamed solar interference. A military relay station in Northern Europe lost synchronization with global atomic time. It was logged as a calibration error. Commercial aircraft briefly lost GPS accuracy over the Atlantic before systems corrected themselves. Nothing dramatic. Nothing worth a headline. Until it started happening everywhere. By the third week, global communication networks were reporting anomalies that made no sense when viewed individually. But when mapped together, a pattern emerged that no one wanted to acknowledge. Every failure occurred on a specific band of electromagnetic frequency. Not random, not chaotic, targeted. And whatever was causing it was moving. Modern civilization depends on invisible signals. Radio, microwave, satellite links, fiber optics, navigation beacons, timing signals, financial networks, emergency systems, air traffic control. Remove the signals and the world does not explode. It goes quiet. That was the most frightening part. Phones still worked. Power grids stayed online. Planes didn't fall from the sky. But underneath the surface, something fundamental was being disrupted. Time itself began to drift. Global positioning systems rely on precise timing down to nanoseconds. When those clocks lose sync, even slightly location shift. Maps become unreliable. Autonomous systems hesitate. Financial trades arrive out of order. At first, the errors were measured in centimeters, then meters, then kilometers. Deep space monitoring stations were the first to notice the source. Far above Earth's atmosphere, beyond the orbits of communication satellites, objects were appearing briefly, then vanishing. Not entering the atmosphere, not emitting thrust, simply existing long enough to interfere with specific frequencies before fading from detection. They did not behave like spacecraft. They behaved like instruments. Each appearance coincided with disruption on a narrow frequency band, as if something was tuning the planet like a radio. Then came the signal. Not a message. A resonance. Across observatories and military sensors, a low repeating oscillation appeared embedded within background noise. Too subtle for consumer equipment. Too precise to be natural. It wasn't broadcasting information. It was probing. Governments responded quietly at first. Redundant systems were activated. Backup satellites brought online. Military communication bands were shifted and hardened. The response failed. Every time humanity moved its signals, the interference followed. As if something was listening first, then reacting. Within weeks, it became clear this was not an attack meant to destroy infrastructure. Power grids remained stable. Cities functioned. The internet slowed but did not collapse. Instead, something more unsettling happened. Communication became unreliable at the edges. Emergency calls failed intermittently. Aircraft experienced momentary confusion between instruments. Submarine crews reported echoes in sonar systems that did not correspond to physical objects. The world wasn't being silenced. It was being tested. The first confirmed visual contact occurred above the Indian Ocean. A research satellite designed to monitor space debris captured a frame it was never meant to see. Against the blackness of space hung a structure the size of a city block. Angular, matte black, completely unlit. It did not reflect sunlight. It did not emit heat. It existed only as a distortion against the stars. Within seconds of detection, every communication system aboard the satellite experienced interference. Not damage, not shutdown, just confusion. Data arrived scrambled, but intact. Then the object was gone. But the disruption lingered. As sightings multiplied, analysts noticed something disturbing. The objects were not random in number or position. They appeared in coordinated formations around the planet, aligned with major communication corridors. Undersea cable landing zones. Satellite clusters. Military relay paths. They were not jamming signals. They were rewriting the rules under which signals behaved. Entire frequency bands became unstable, not unusable, unpredictable. It forced humanity into a defensive posture it had never experienced before. You cannot retaliate against interference. You cannot negotiate with silence. Then came the blackout event. For 6 minutes, global communication networks desynchronized completely. Not offline, not destroyed, simply unable to agree on time. Financial markets froze. Aircraft held position. Autonomous systems entered failsafe modes. Emergency services reverted to analog radios long thought obsolete. People noticed. For the first time, the public felt something was wrong. And then, just as suddenly, everything returned to normal. Except it wasn't. Hidden within the recovered data, engineers found something chilling. A pattern. The disruptions had followed a progression. Each event slightly more complex than the last. Each frequency band tested, adjusted, logged, like a learning process. The realization hit hard. These were not hostile actions. They were experiments. The objects were not attacking Earth. They were mapping its nervous system, understanding how a technological civilization communicates, how it reacts under stress, how quickly it adapts, where its vulnerabilities lie, and most disturbing of all, what it prioritizes. Military channels were tested last. Civilian systems were tested first, as if whoever was watching wanted to understand society before confronting its defenses. Then, the interference changed. Instead of disrupting signals, the anomalies began reinforcing them. Certain frequencies suddenly became clearer than ever before. Signal strength increased without explanation. Noise vanished. Communication improved beyond theoretical limits. It was a gift and a warning. The message was unmistakable. Control of the spectrum meant control of civilization. No message was ever sent. No demand made. No threat issued. The objects still appear from time to time high above the planet, interfering briefly, then vanishing. Each time a little closer. Each time more precise. The frequency wars, as they came to be called, are not fought with weapons. They are fought with knowledge. And humanity is losing. Because the most dangerous realization came last. Whatever is doing this does not need to destroy our technology. It only needs to decide when we are no longer allowed to use it.